Back in 2017, Loupedeck emerged into the photography scene with the first iteration of their USB controller. Aimed at photographers, this device was set to change the way they used Adobe Lightroom, with the sole purpose of streamlining their workflow. However, based on quite a few reviews, the device didn't quite hit the mark. So, just a year on from that, and Loupedeck had jumped back into the scene with the second version, the Loupedeck Plus. So, who's the Loupedeck Plus aimed at? Well, in terms of photography, it still offers Lightroom and also offers Photoshop and Aurora. Amongst other creatives, Loupedeck now have filmmakers firmly in their sights, making this device compatible with programs like Audition, Final Cut Pro, and today we're going to see how it works with Adobe Premiere. If you're familiar with the first version, then straight out of the box you're going to notice that Loupedeck Plus has a much more refined build, while still fitting in that similar keyboard size form factor. Not only has the main build improved, but they've also paid a lot of attention to the controller's buttons and dials. These now feel purposeful, responsive, and no longer feel clunky and ill-fitting. Overall, this now feels like a more premium product and something that I can confidently say will be a part of my everyday workflow. Getting it set up is pretty straightforward. There's a lightweight download which is used to run the unit, as well as giving you the program which allows you to customize all of the Loupedeck's controls. Once installed, you can open up Premiere, enable the device, and start using and customizing the controller for your needs. In terms of its layout, not a great deal has changed between the versions. You may notice the new addition of a custom dial, a couple of extra custom buttons, but that's about it. That said, even though visually this thing is very much the same, there is one big difference which opens up a whole new option for your editing, and that's with the custom mode button. So let's talk about how you can customize your Loupedeck. As a starting point, the Loupedeck Plus comes set up with all the common presets you'll need depending on which software you're using. With Premiere, you have preset controls that allow you to scrub through your timeline, select different tools, and color grade on the fly, all at your fingertips. And the good news is, most of the buttons on here can be completely customized to do almost anything you need them to within the Loupedeck software. And by pressing the function key, this gives you another level of customization for each key. So depending on how long you've used the editing software for, you might want to change a lot of the preset keys for something you use on a more regular basis. For me, I have the basic play, scrub forward, backwards, mark in and out points as my main keys on my left, with the above custom buttons being used for all the tools within Premiere. But as you can see here, every single custom button has a huge range of options for working controls both inside and outside of the program you're using. The only issue here is remembering what all of the buttons do, but if you're using this enough, it'll soon become second nature. So I have briefly outlined how I have my Loupedeck set up. Other custom buttons that I have selected are Quick Save, because Premiere doesn't always play ball, Clip Volume, Audio Output Settings, Time Remap, along with other controls such as clearing in and out points and going to the start or end of my sequence. Over the years that I've been using Premiere, I've had my standard keyboard set up with all the shortcuts that I use on a regular basis. So when it came to setting up the Loupedeck, it was pretty straightforward. Just select my shortcuts that I already use and find a home for them on the Loupedeck Plus. There are some keys and dials that I haven't changed at all. For example, the main dial allows you to skip through cuts, whereas if I want to be a little bit more precise, then dial 2 allows you to move the playhead a fraction at a time. A little earlier I mentioned the custom mode. This is a new feature that's been added to the Loupedeck Plus. This allows you to customize the dials throughout the device, with controls such as curves or clip volume, and it really does come in handy to have the customized dials as well as the buttons. So as a suggestion, custom mode can be used solely for finishing your film, such as grading or sound design. When using Premiere's built-in grading tool Lumetri, you have full control of the key basic tools such as exposure, color balance and contrast. These are all controlled using the dedicated dials on the main part of the board. This type of control means you can pay a lot more attention to the actual clip that you're grading instead of having to keep half an eye on the sliders. Personally, I also feel that it pushes you to use more of the grading options available such as hue, saturation and luminance. And with that custom mode set up to your needs, you can explore grading a lot further and faster. Like a lot of people in the creative industry, I don't just work on one machine, so if I want to take the Loupedeck with me, I'm going to want to take my presets, and luckily that's quite straightforward. Within the Loupedeck app, you have an option to export your presets for whichever program you're using, and then you can simply import the settings onto another computer. So the Loupedeck Plus, is it something I could live without? Well, it probably is. I mean, plenty of people get on absolutely fine with a standard mouse and keyboard, but it's so much more than that. And as someone who uses a lot of Adobe applications, this device really has streamlined my workflow by putting all of the shortcuts and functions in a really good looking device. And Loupedeck really have made great steps forward with both the build and compatibility of the Plus, and have made it into something I actually want to use daily. All in all, it's a well thought out and relatively inexpensive device, and something I'd really recommend for people using the compatible software on a regular basis. So for more information about the Loupedeck Plus, click on the link in the description.